ShartimusPrime. Reading comics, toys are hella sick, hella whacking it. Taking bad hits, taking back hits.
I liked it. I think I liked it.
Hey, what's up you guys? ShartimusPrime here, doing another Revoltech action figure review on the figure complex. Amazing Yamaguchii Revoltech Magneto. If you're trying to pick this up, you can do so right now. I'm
Big. Get your big badass toys at BigBadToyStore.com. Click the link in the description below.
Always seem to be amazed with the packaging for these figures. I really like this a lot. You get some nice purple lightning going on, nice product shot right there. Then we get some more product shot on the side, and then on the very back, even more product shot, and then we get these speech bubbles throughout, and he's gonna attack you with paper clips. Look out for the paper clips! Then you can see we get option parts for the face right over there, and then on the side we get another product shot, and it says Magneto at the very top right over there, and then on the very bottom we get a picture of the X-Men comic book cover, and then a bunch of stuff in Japanese and a phone number. So anyway, let's get to it and crack this thing open. And here's Magneto out of the packaging, and I'm feeling like I performed a miracle over here, getting this guy to stand with his own 2 feet with all of the cape accessories attached, because man, that is a hefty cape over there. I've heard other people complain about it, and yeah, it's pretty tricky to work with, but overall, not a bad figure at all, and he does come with some pretty nifty accessories. So let's get a closer look at those, and then we'll get a closer look at Magneto. So aside from the cape and the head sculpts, we're looking at the rest of the accessories that come with this figure. Oh, minus one tool that I already lost. We do get a picking tool over here, and this is the one that came with Deadpool, but we get one that's very similar, that's all white, that comes with Magneto, and I dropped it and I lost it like a damn idiot. But anyway, we get 2 pairs of interchangeable hands over here. Then we get 4 extra Revoltech pegs, just in case you break one of them. And then we get the Revoltech stand right here, which is pretty sweet. You could rotate at the bottom, hinge here, hinge here, hinge here, and then you have the option of using the clamp, or you could just use the little peg, you know, that you can see right over there. I really love these magnetic effects right here, and they actually function, which is incredible. But just looking at the paint apps on them and the design for these, we get these little rings going throughout, and then we get this electric effect going on right there. I think these are incredible. I'm very pleased with them. You could actually see, you know, the rings a little bit more if I turn down the settings, but man, I really like that a lot. They only port into the open hands, so you can see that we get a hole right over there, and it has a peg, so you just port it like that, and that is very cool. I dig that a lot. Now, one thing I don't dig so much is the wrist pegs for this figure. They come apart. They split in half right over there very easily for me, so just a warning for you, when you port these in, I find it working better for me to not push the hand in necessarily all the way on these pegs, because a lot of the times when I'm trying to port them, take them off, like the whole half of this peg will come with it, and that's very irritating, and I'm even having a hard time porting this on right now. It is a weird angle though that they have here, because it kind of follows in line with the thumb more so than going directly straight into the hand. But there it is, and now I've ported it all the way on there, and it popped off just fine. So yeah, this time you don't have to worry about it. But anyway, yeah, showing this effect right over here once again with the arm and everything, because this just came off the body. I think that's very cool. And to show how it works, I will take a Mangs pin from my band, the Mangs, and we haven't played together in a while. I'm looking forward to the reunion, but yeah, you can see how that works magnetized. So here's looking at the cape, which overall I do like, though there are some frustrating aspects to it. You really need to understand the motion of the cape before you start displaying the figure with it. And I know I sound a little pompous saying that, I don't know, it just comes out weird, but you really do need to understand the positioning of the cape before you apply it. You know, like you can't, if you want to have it going like this, I think it looks a bit weird, so you want to think about air being underneath it, and that is where I've had the most fun with it. So I'd like to put this on one side, then you get this third piece right over here, which is just one piece. The rest of these have 2 pieces attached, so you get a 2-in-1 deal with them, which is pretty neat. So you get articulation within the cape, which I'm kind of like, I'm not that excited about it, you know, and you could rotate over here because it gets a bit gappy, and you have to really work with trying to hide those gaps when you're taking pictures. So kind of neat, but kind of frustrating all at the same time. You know what I mean? It's like I want to like it more than I actually do. So yeah, you want to make sure, like, see, if you're porting it together, you don't want to do something like this and like this unless, I don't know, the gesture that the figure's making works with that. But I like having him floating in the air and having it, you know, kind of kicked up like that. So anyway, looking on the very back, you can see that we get 6 ports. Well, there's the 6th port right over there, but we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 right down over there. You're going to use these 3 right here for the cape. I like putting this, I mean, you could use this one, and oh yeah, just to, yeah, see, that doesn't work as well as these other ports right here. And to warn you, I had a hard time porting these in right at the beginning, so don't try to force it. Get a hair dryer, heat this up, and then they'll just go in very easily, but don't keep trying to force it, you know. So heat it up with a hair dryer or some kind of heat, and then you can port them in and they'll go in just fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this one in right over here. And I do like that we get, you know, an ultra articulated cape, but man, it's just so much plastic and it just bogs the figure down a lot, and it looks cool. I mean, I think that is very cool looking. I like it, but again, it's just not easy to work with. So if you want to do something where he's kind of like levitating or hovering in the air, and it can look cool, you know, you got to just get this all positioned the way you want to. And yeah, you know, and you don't have to use all 3 of them at once, you know, if you want to just take one of them out. But again, it gets very gappy. Like if I take this one out right down here, you can see a huge gap right over there, but depending on the angle you're taking the picture, that could look better, right? See, his head's blocking the gap right there. So yeah, just be creative with it. I mean, really, these figures, these Revoltech figures are really for people that are very much into posing. So if you're willing to put the time into posing the figure and getting that perfect angle, getting that perfect shot, then it will work with you. You just have to work with it, you know, and it's kind of a lot of work just dealing with it. But yeah, that looks pretty cool overall, man. So we get 2 head sculpts with this guy and 2 different faces. I love that we get interchangeable faces, and here's the first one I'm looking at, and I do like it. I really like this hair sculpt over here. Nice paint apps and everything, and I do like that we get a little bit of motion in the hair too, so it really works with levitating poses. And I did take the capes off, you know, very bulky and they get in the way, but man, I think the hair came out great. And I do like this face sculpt. The eyes are kind of just sculpted a little bit weird, and we get a lot of lines in here that I actually think look really good. So I do like the face sculpts for the most part, just the eyes are a little bit weird. And we get the, I'm not talking about the placement of the eyes because those are posable, I'm just talking about the shape of them. You can see that it's not the real exact same shape on each side over here, and that's just a bit frustrating to work with, especially when you're trying to pose the eyes. So you could pop his head off right there, and then we can remove his face, like, oh no, and then you can go ahead and grab the other face. Well, you got to remove the helmet, and then we get a more intense looking Eric Lencher right here and port that on. And I really like this one too. I like how you can see his teeth and everything. I put his eyes pointing downward just a little bit more. I like those big bushy eyebrows. So very cool, intense looking face. And then demonstrating how we could pose the eyes, which I really don't like doing so much because it's just really tricky to do. But yeah, you get your little tool in here, and then you get the holes in the back of the eyes, and you can move them around, and it's just not easy to do. See, and yeah, so you can see the eye will move just a little bit. So you know how these things work. We've used these before. It's kind of tricky to get them exactly just the way you want. I'm trying to get them looking to the side over there, and yeah, it's just not that fun to work with, man. We get the helmeted head right over here, and you can go ahead and plop that face right on there, which looks ridiculous, or you can plop the other head sculpt, which I'm going to leave on here, and that looks pretty good too. I really like the helmet. I do feel like I need to heat this up and get this pointy section right over here a little bit more centered, but I love the metallic purple that we're seeing on it, and the sculpt looks really good. I do like it. And then you get this little collar piece that you want to put on the side there, and it has a little bit of that bright purple trim, or that metallic looking trim, and you can just port this right back onto the head, and that looks really good. And as far as the rest of the figure goes, I really like how we get consistent metallic purple throughout, you know, even the whole cape right here. I didn't mention this earlier, but this is all very metallic, you know, even though the joints right over here aren't as metallic looking, you know, they still have a little bit of a sheen to them. But I really love that we're getting a black shadowing effect throughout on this guy. I think that looks great. I like the muscle definition a lot. The arms look awesome. I like how the bands came out right over here. That looks really good. He's got his shorts and everything. Nice wrinkles sculpted in there. Again, the muscle definition is great. Good looking legs. So very cool looking, a little bit bendy, you know. It's like he kind of has a little bit of a bow-legged thing going on right over there, so it's not too bad. I feel like the feet are a little bit smaller than they need to be, though. I don't know. It just seems like he has like very small feet. He may have two left. No, he doesn't have two left feet. I thought for a second he had two left feet, but nah. No peg holes down there or anything. Then looking on the back, you get more of that metallic purple, looking really good. Magnetized butt cheeks, and then you get the big old back piece right there. I should mention that it is even tricky getting this guy to stand without the big old cape pieces right over there, but I still do like the articulation on this guy. You can get his head moving up quite a bit. Well, even before popping off the head, you can see that he'll look up that much right there, so that's pretty good, and he'll look down quite a bit. You get side to side movement, they'll move that far left and right, and you get a great amount of head and neck pivot. So that's pretty awesome. You get these leftover cape pieces, and we already talked about the cape articulation earlier, but you can shimmy these towards his chin or away from his face like that, and you can move them up and down, so that's pretty sweet. We get these two joints right over here in the shoulders, so you can move his arms all the way up, you can move him down, you can rotate him forward and rotate him back. Doing a full 360 is tricky. I don't really recommend that. And then you also get a double jointed elbow. Well, it's the Revoltech jointed elbow that goes all the way in, and you could rotate at either part of that joint, either towards the bicep or at the forearm. You get rotation at the wrist, and you can move that up and down or side to side depending on how you have that positioned. Same thing with the crunch right here, where you get the nice ab crunch right inside there, and you can move it back. Whoa, there goes his face. And you can get a pivot, but you have to take the ball joint apart and then kind of shift it over, but you can see it kind of wants to, but you gotta, you know, detach this and then rotate the ball joint around, and then you can get a much better pivot. Not doing that right now. The waist joint turns side to side, and same deal with the pivot. Getting it to crunch, you'll crunch forward that much all the way forward, and then it'll only go back that far. I want to put his head back on there. This is weird. And then he has hips right over here that move outward just that much, and I wish they could move in much closer. That's just not, I don't know, it's just kind of weird, and these angles right here are just a little bit strange, man. Anyway, he'll kick forward that far and back that much. You do have this angled swivel right over here at the upper thigh, and then he has the knee joint that bends in all the way, which is great. You also get a kneecap joint that covers some of that Revoltech ball joint, which I thought was clever. I like that. You can also rotate that side to side as well, and then you get ankles that move down. You gotta make sure that this little pointy piece is on the inside of the cuff of the pants, or his boot anyway, and you can move the ankle upward. You get side to side motion, you get ankle pivot, and we get some very loose toe articulation. Not on his right side, but on this side, this toe is very loose. I don't like that. So I only have two pieces of the cape attached to him over here, and he's leaning forward very much, which is going to affect the height, right? I mean, looking at the top of his head, it's at about 6.5 inches, but I'm going to measure him again without the cape pieces. You can see he's a little bit over 7 inches. I want to say 7.25 inches tall. And then comparing this Revoltech Magneto next to the Revoltech Wolverine, you can see Magneto is much taller than Wolverine, and I like that. That looks pretty cool to me. I'm happy. Then here's Magneto next to a couple of Marvel Legends figures. We have the Marvel Legends Jim Lee Cyclops, and then we have the Jim Lee Jean Grey right over there. And I think these scale very well together. I like the height differences between these three. I did take some photos of Magneto fighting some X-Men figures, so stay tuned for the end of the video for the photos. And then for your Magneto comparison, we have the Toy Biz Marvel Legends Series 3 Magneto and the Diamond Select Marvel Select Magneto right over there. Between these three, I don't know, man, I'm kind of leaning towards the Revoltech being my favorite. He may take the place of the Select that has been the centerpiece of my X-Men villain display. And no, I don't have that Jubilee Build-A-Figure Wave Magneto figure. I sold that a long time ago. And then here's Magneto next to the Marvel Legends Big Time Letdown Spider-Man. And here's Magneto up on his flight stand looking awesome. And this is where the figure really gets fun. I really think this is meant to be posed on a flight stand. If you're trying to pose him around just standing on the ground, you're playing with the figure all wrong. He's meant to be displayed up in the air, floating around, and you can see it. Yeah, just got to adjust that cape just a little bit right over there, but I really like this a lot. I have been having a lot of fun with it. I really dig it. I do have my gripes, as you heard me mention earlier, so he's just really not meant to just kind of stand on his 2 feet. You really do want to get him on the flight stand, and it just, oh man, and the cape looks cooler like that and everything. I don't know. I just really liked it. I like my superposable figures, so I do recommend this, but I don't think it's for everybody. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this Magneto figure. Let me know what you think of the review. If you want to see more ShartimusPrime videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well as hitting the notification bell. I want to thank all these people over here for supporting this YouTube channel, and I just did a Patreon giveaway for the Gotham Diamond Select Toys Zaz figures. So if you're interested in the giveaways and the extra content, please check out the Patreon account, link below. If you want to see a photo gallery of images, it'll be over at marvelousnews.com and ShartimusPrime.net, and you can follow me on the Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Links to everything in the description below. I'll catch you guys later. Peace!
I'm gonna play with my toys today. 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 Well, I don't care what the strangers say. I'm gonna play with my toys today.
That's crispy.
Hey, new ShartimusPrime videos. Hey, you should click one. Yeah, click on one of them. Or subscribe if you haven't.
We're shot. Your face is